We've all seen those wild red candles this week, and if you're new to the stock market, it can be pretty scary. So today I want to talk about why most people lose money in the stock market. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it's your fault. Welcome to Investors Lab, where we learn to become better investors together. So there are a few reasons why most people lose money in the stock market, and none of it has to do with your intelligence or background. In fact, I would argue that the smarter you are, the more dangerous investing can be. Because with great knowledge comes great responsibility, and most people simply don't know what they don't know. For example, here are some things most people do not know. 1, you can't get rich in 3 months. 2, the stock market doesn't work like roulette. 3, your house is probably not a good investment. And 4, Warren Buffett didn't make his money on penny stocks. But the thing is, most people don't know that they don't know any of this stuff. And that leads us straight into mistake number 1, chasing hype. You see it all the time. A stock goes viral on TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, and people FOMO in at the top. They're buying because it's going up, not because it's a good company. A popular stock is like a game of telephone. By the time the news gets out, everyone's too late. Hype fades. Fundamentals matter. Mistake number 2, panic selling. When the market drops, most people freak out. They sell their stocks at a loss, they're locking in that loss, and then they miss the recovery. Trust me, when you zoom out, red days are completely normal. In fact, since 1980, there have been an average of 20 red days every single year. If you sell every time it dips, you'll never win. Mistake 3, no plan or strategy. Ask most beginners what their strategy is. They don't have one. No goal, no asset allocation, no plan. The market is not a casino, but unfortunately, most people treat it like one. The house always wins when you gamble, but you can beat the market if you play your cards right. So come up with a plan and stick to it. The market will reward you for being consistent. Mistake 4. 4. Overtrading, trying to time the market, jumping in and out of trades every week. That's not investing. That's guessing. And guess what? Guessing is fun, but it doesn't make you money. In fact, overtrading kills returns, racks up fees, and usually leads to burnout. And finally, mistake number 5, ignoring the boring. The best strategies are boring. Dollar cost averaging into ETFs, buying compounders, holding for years. But most people want excitement, so they avoid what actually works. Now look, it took me years to realize this, but the stock market is like dating. You're gonna feel lonely at first. Then you meet someone, you start to fall in love, and you think this person is perfect. But eventually you find out they're not. And you might even lose some money in the process. But if you can stick with the process, be patient, and keep learning, you will find the right person. In fact, here's the crazy thing. If you can avoid these 5 mistakes, you're already ahead of 90% of people in the market. This game is about patience, discipline, and playing the long-term odds. It's not about getting rich quick or timing the market. If you can stick to the boring fundamental analysis and the long-term trend, you will win. And speaking of winning, if you want to know how to double your money in the stock market, check out this video next. What was the biggest investing mistake you've made so far? Drop it in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to Investors Lab, and I'll see you next week.